Hoy en Mente Hispana.
Every time you're doing something new, you need a new little piece of confidence to meet that requirement.
Welcome to Mente Hispana, the thought leadership show, the place where we talk with Hispanic leaders who are building, transforming, and inspiring our community. Today, we have a very special guest, Gabriela Smith. Gabriela is the founder and entrepreneur of GNS Law, a law firm at Dallas Fort Worth. Also, she has a CPA link, helps small companies get connected to certified public accountant. She is also the host of her own podcast, Exit Ed, where successful founders reveal the real behind the scenes experience of building, scaling, and exiting their companies. And lastly, Let Amplify, investment company which provides software innovations for US markets. So she helps founders grow their companies and protect them legally. Her work includes corporate law and many cross-border deals in the US. Gabriela, I will say you're a serial entrepreneur, so it's a real pleasure to have you here at Mente Hispana. How are you today?
Thank you, Sergio. Very, very nice to see you today. And I'm doing well. Thank you.
That's great. For the people that are just synced with us, can you tell us more about yourself and what do you do?
Sure. I am originally from Argentina. I also lived in Bolivia during my teen years, and I came to the U.S. in 2001. Went to college and pursued a career in law. Worked at a big law firm, and then in 2014 I started my own law firm, and then this year I started launching companies, so stepping more into the entrepreneurship side. As you mentioned, I'm the co-founder of CPA Link. That is a online platform connecting freelance CPAs with other freelance, with CPA firms that want to hire freelancers. So we're sort of a marketplace like Upwork or Fiverr, but just specialized for the niche of professionals. And launching the Law Link, which is the legal version of that same platform, just for lawyers to connect with each other. So super busy in the business world. And as you mentioned, I'm also the founder of GNS Law, where I'm mergers and acquisitions law.
That's amazing. I mean, there are a lot of companies here and with written creation, but I want to go back a little bit. Studied law. Why did you study law and what inspired you to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I always I have a sense of justice in running through my blood. It's just something that, for whatever reason, maybe some experiences as a young person, I don't know. I'm always advocating for somebody. I am always looking for the fairness in situations. I decided to pursue law when I was, I think, 13 years old, and I did it.
Oh, great. Yeah. And I can imagine that your experience at college was amazing. So that pushed you to enter a big law firm. And then in that place, you learn a lot of what you do now. What are one of the big takeaways that you learned at your first jobs with this big corporate law
Oh
firms?
yeah. Yeah, that was a tough job for me because I did my college very, very fast. I finished it in 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. And then I had just moved to the US. And so I was still very new from a cultural perspective in the US, and I didn't know a lot of the cultural cues. And the workplace where I went to work was very, very mainstream American. I don't know if at the time they had another immigrant. So, I was still like, I didn't watch football or baseball. And that was like a weird thing. I was into soccer and always have been. It was very tough culturally to be inserted in a very mainstream, I say to this day, I don't think I was understood. Yeah, I don't think I was understood. And so I was still learning my way, perfecting my language skills, and all of that. That was interesting. I think your question is what's something I learned is just learn to learn. Learning is learning, via an eternal learner. I learned a lot. I took the good things, not so pleasant experiences too, but, I took the best and ran with it.
No, and I think that's one of the best advices on when things that you can learn, how to learn to learn. And I believe that you will talk about this a little bit further, but that's some of the base that help you to now have different business because you're continuously learning about the environment, the economics, the needs of your clients, the needs of the people around you, and that maybe inspire you to create all the other businesses.
Yeah. Well, I don't
Mhm.
know what my personality is one that requires me to be busy. It's just how I'm wired. It's something I think I thought and it was categorized as anxiety early on, but I don't think it is that. I think it's just the need to build and grow and improve constantly. I just like to start new things and learn and get through challenges, and so right now I'm, running a law firm, running a couple of companies all at the same time, Elon Musk style, you might
Yeah.
say. But they're all fairly small and manageable. And as long as you stay organized, you can have it tuned into so many things, right? And so this is just part of that. I'm tuning to what my companies need and my family, my friends, whatever. It's just part of being a woman. I think it's being tuning to so many things at the same time. It's kind of normal. I talk to some of the other female, and we're taking care of the family, we're taking care of our business. It's just how we're built. So I think it's
Yeah.
it's cool to kind of normalize. It's not really that much chaotic because our brains are wired for. I'm watching the kid, I'm setting the doctor appointment, I'm doing 10,000 other things at the same time, and I'm running the business. It's just part of the flow, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love the way you say it, like organized chaos. I
Yep.
know that you're wired for it and you want to build with it and you have channelized it, you have focused it on very good things that it's not only family and business, but also creating opportunity for others. And I was wondering while I was listening to you, if you have like someone important, like a mentor in your life that helped you through all this process that that influenced you at a way that you will learn from it, from him or
Yeah.
her, and then implement what she told you?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I saw that question was coming. I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting question." Nobody came to mind, but thinking about it, I wouldn't pick any kind of public figure that I'm like, "Oh, that person inspired me to do whatever." I really do think there were two people probably in my life that pushed me to help me to where I'm at. One obviously would be my mom. She's a retired physician now, worked in Argentina and Bolivia in the medical profession and really in those countries back in the 90s, 80s and the 90s and part of the 2000s. Really, it really does. She was a leader at the, South America level. And so it takes a woman with a lot of gut and in a male environment, medicine, back in the day when I'm talking about. And so, I learned a lot just watching my mom, who was a single mom at the time. And then, somebody I've been married to 25 years next, so 24, I think. I lost track. I've been married for about 24 years now. And obviously, my husband has been with me and we've been helping each other since the beginning. So I would say, I don't know that I would call him a mentor, although the early years probably yes. And then I kind of caught up. He's from the U.S. and he already knew a lot of things I didn't know about living here. But I would say he's probably a person that really helped me get to pursue my dreams and help me to where I'm at. So I would say those two people really definitely impacted my life.
No, and that's great. I mean, I know that behind every story, there are like stepstones that we do it, but there's a structure of people that help us and motivate us and inspire us in order to keep going. And I love that these two people for you are your husband and your mother because they are within your nuclear and in your center of the family. So there's some people close and that gives some advice and unless
Right.
hey let's who do you want to have close in order to build
Yeah.
in this case in your case like a family but also a business you need not only like husband but a business partner with this motivation and with this inspiring thing that loves what you do and loves you because you are a builder and it's not
Right.
annoyed because you're a builder but the other and their dreams
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Particularly with my husband, definitely right now we are business partners too, as of
mm,
earlier this year. He left his career in medicine to join my organized chaos because we're getting very successful with the different projects. And so It didn't make much sense to have two not competing, but two very strong careers, with him being in medicine and then me being in the business world with, getting pulled in so many directions. So this year he joined me to help me maintain the organization, and then also so that, we could have, with the kids, our kids are teenagers right now. And, it's a good thing. We kind of run the businesses from home, and and
Yeah.
everybody's the kids go to school part-time, and then the other time they're homeschooling. So yeah, I mean, we have like a nice little business here at the house.
No, that's beautiful. That's part of the organized chaos.
Exactly. That's, somebody who I think I consider him a mentor. Probably the only, non-family mentor that I consider, at least, is an attorney here from Texas, who once said, yeah, that, he understood my work. At the time, I wasn't running other companies. I was just running the law firm. And then he said something that was important to me to at least hear, which is, you created your own universe. And he said, you work on your schedule, the clients that you want, and the type of work that you want. Because my law firm never looked very traditional. We weren't a brick and mortar. We still aren't a brick and mortar type of business. We are more of a virtual business with our attorneys spread out in different parts of the country. We're not a 9 to 5 job. When you own it, you're just working and working, and, and find the time to carve out your off time. But you also are responsible to run the thing and make sure the clients are coming in and they're getting served well. And there were times when I would start working at 5 a.m. and work until 7 when the kids woke up, and then between 7 and 10 is kid time, and then 10 to whatever time, and then work a little bit in the evening. So you do create your own universe and make it fit for whatever need you have. And I did that, but always thinking, I'm doing it the wrong way, because the 9 to 5 is the way. And eventually I'm like, whatever, they should not do.
Yeah.
Just do what you need to do.
I mean, if the business is going well and the clients are getting served, I mean, it's not a way to do it. Here in Mexico, we have a lot of paralegals for law firms at the U.S., and they are lawyers here in Mexico, but as they don't have the requisites in order to, they haven't passed the bar in the United States, so they are working as paralegals. And we have several different law firms, so we understand the dynamics that a law firm needs in order to serve their clients, and how many cases they have to do on the investigations, and everything is urgent. So the pace is really fast. So when you get like these organized chaos in which you can put your times and the clients and the deadlines according to your schedule, and then you know how much client can you have, then you can deliver the best service possible. I think that's not, it's not necessarily 9 to 5. It's whatever times it takes in order to have this.
Right.
I won't say balance, because I don't believe in balance. There's not perfect balance, but there's opportunity to serve your clients the best way, but at the same time have time for being with your kids, family, and all the other companies that you're doing.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. There's this whole balance. I didn't even know what balance. Who's balanced in what?
Yeah,
What's your what's balance? And nobody. I'm not saying no. It doesn't need to be balanced. There's just seasons in life, and you just need to live in the seasons where you're at. And everybody's different. Personalities, needs are different. Ways to recharge are different. There are seasons where your kids are little, and there's seasons where your kids are older, and then there's seasons when your kids are gone. So I think what you need to balance is making sure you're not going to have any regrets later. But if you love what you do, and if that's what you love, then that's what you do. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of how I do it.
definitely. I completely agree. And I know that through all the companies that you have, even with your podcast, you have helped people, young entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
make their legal or financial decision. And what are the common mistakes that young entrepreneurs do while you were helping them, that you say, hey, this is kind of repeated. How can I help others?
Yeah. So yeah, I think you're referring to in the legal business, in the law firm, we do mergers and acquisitions, so what that is you're getting, you're selling your company. Usually we work on the seller side. We do have some work projects on the buyer side, but mostly is helping lots of tech companies from Latin America. They come to the US, they open, their LLC, their corporation, they grow, they get an American client, a few American clients, and then they have a few $1 million in revenue, and they're ready to be sold. A lot of those types of companies come to us, when they want to get ready to get sold. So, since you're in Mexico, let me just speak to that segment, which is, everybody makes mistakes in business. Okay. Everybody makes big mistakes. All of us make mistakes. I'm an attorney by training. I'm going to make mistakes in the marketing side because nobody ever taught me marketing. I teach myself marketing as I go. Somebody who's in finance and they decide to start their company, they're going to make other mistakes, probably not financial mistakes because they probably know their numbers and how to do things. And so nobody starts a business knowing 100% of what you need to do to run it. So making mistakes is perfect because that means you're learning. Like if you're not making mistakes, it's just too weird, right? And so I would say the number one issue that I see for the Latin American companies coming to the US is they short sell themselves. There's this notion, I've seen some great people not suck at this, but a lot of them really suck at this, which is, it's almost like all these American companies do me a favor by hiring me. That there's this posture of like, thank you so much for doing this for me and giving me business. And I think that's just the scarcity mindset. That's just like it's just not the best mindset. You need to come in with a winner's mindset. And so they will short sell themselves. And I say I probably still do it myself a little bit. It's something I've had that mistake as somebody who came here and then did great in my education and started the business and did great. And short selling myself has always been an issue, which I'm very very aware and cognizant of. And I try not to do it myself. And I'm like, what's my value and what's fair for me here and for them. And so I would say, don't short sell yourself. And yeah, look, business, you're going to learn the business. I think the number one thing in success, it really has to do with your head. What's in your head is what you're going to reflect. So if you're scarce, then you're going to reflect scarcity and you're going to attract that too. You're going to get hung up on things that aren't issues and you're not going to let your real entrepreneur come out and flourish like it should. So I think that's what it is. And then, I mean, in general, like, I just give like a little advice on the LATAM side. If I want to get a little lawyerly, because, I do own a legal business. So if I can be give like a quick piece of advice would be pay attention to your legal stuff. There are two ways to work with an attorney. You either call your attorney when you have a problem or you call your attorney when you don't have a problem. And you should really do the second one. You should always call your attorney when you don't have a problem, because that means that your attorney can help you and guide you to make sure you stay out of problems. And when you're staying out of the problem, you're building value. When your company is having problems, you're diminishing the value because now you have a record that you had a claim, you had litigation, you had a client that didn't pay. And when you go to sell your company, that all shows up and it's like points taken against you. The whole thing with lawyers, I'm going to call my lawyer because I have a problem. That's honestly too late. Sometimes we can't erase it. Our mindset at our law firm is you're going to get sold. How do I put more money in your pocket? That's how we think. And one way that we know to put money in your pocket is to be proactive with your legal operations. And you have legal operations. Just like my law firm, it's a legal service. We have a marketing operation, a whole marketing system. We have an accounting system. We have every aspect of a business, every business has, right? But you're not training every aspect. So you got to bring the experts. And so be smart about your experts. Yeah.
Definitely. And I love the first part that you said that don't undersell yourself. That's a cultural thing. And when
That's very
we
much.
work like trying to help US companies understand Latin American workers, especially when they are not living in the US, they are like hiring internationally, then we have to explain them a lot. And then we have to not only to the American people, but to the Latin American people here in Mexico. Here in Mexico, we have an effort culture. If we go back to soccer, that I know you like soccer, then we see the soccer team, and they always played amazing, but they are losing on the main instances. And we ask why? Why are they losing in the quarterfinals, semifinals, even the finals? And their main reason is because they have a culture of effort. They applaud, hey, you did it great, but you didn't get the goal. So in the American culture is we're all about the goal. I don't care how many hours you put in, I want the result in there. But in the Mexican culture, some Latin American culture says, Hey, but I worked 16 hours. I'm here busting my ass, doing the job. I'm here lifting everything. I'm working everywhere. Yes, but if you don't get the result, if you don't acquire that goal that you are seeking, then uh, you are not delivering what is needed from you. So
Right.
indeed,
Right.
in this cultural environment, they have to understand Mexicans. We need to understand, hey, don't undersell yourself, but at the same time, if you got the results, you have to show them. Don't show the effort that it took you to take it as the primary thing. Show the results that you got, and then talk about the effort.
Yeah, that's very true. I will say though, on soccer,
Mhm.
I know Argentina is the world champion right now, and
Yeah,
it will continue to be for another 4 years. We'll see next year. I mean, yeah, it's true. It's I mean, a culture, but we also have amazing, amazing Mexican companies, amazing
yeah,
Argentinian companies. There's amazing talent in our, but we do have a culture. That it turns into economic opportunities. It turns into education opportunities. But I get your point. I totally get it. Definitely in the U.S. is like business on steroids. I mean, business on steroids. And it's speed is a factor that we look at. If we hire internationally, or we're outsourcing work from there, it's like I'm gonna get myself somebody who understands the speed and the value, because time is money. That's just how it is. And so time is money, and so as long as people are being fast and accurate and doing the best that they can and having fun in the process, I think things are gonna work out.
yeah, definitely. I love it. I want to ask you this, like, if you go back in the past and met again a 20-year-old Gabriela, what will be your advice to her, professionally
Yeah, I
speaking?
love that
Yeah,
question. I tell myself, I think it would be on the confidence level. I think it would be on the confidence level. If my version saw me today, it was a different person. So I think a lot of what I think makes me successful, the qualities were back. My personality didn't change in the last 20 years. What changed is, like I was saying earlier, is what's in my head and what I choose to believe versus what I don't believe. There have been times where I mentally chose that I could achieve X, and suddenly those opportunities opened. And it's a weird kind of energy thing you manifest, or whatever posture you take is what you will attract. So my 20-year-old had a certain maturity level that she had. And, I think she had some confidence issues. Again, new in the country, the whole thing, learning the ropes, knowing what you want, but not really not knowing what it looks like. I didn't come from, I had to work at it here like any other immigrant. I mean, I didn't have a network. I didn't know anybody. And my husband, came more from like a blue collar family. So we kind of both had to build up to where we're at. But I would work on her confidence and say, just go with your gut, be a little bit more bold. I've always been bold, but probably not enough when I was that age. And just stick to your guts and believe in yourself a little bit more.
most of our listeners are between 25 to 35 years old, and they're entrepreneurs, and they're like trying to strive their business and get to know what to do. So this is a great advice for them. I mean, I know that the question is regardless to you, but it's like, hey, I want you to listen. And most
Yeah.
of our listeners, what they are lacking of, it's confidence. I mean, they have a great product, they have a great service, they have a great idea, they have great teams, but they are lacking this confidence of believing yourself, believing your product, believing what you have built, and believing that what you are dreaming is achievable in a realistic frame. Yeah,
Right. And the funny thing in what you said, which is true, is 100% residing in your head. I
yeah,
mean, because all you need to do is just get out of the comfort zone, which is the lack of confidence. Is, oh, will I make it? Will I not make it? Who will like me? Who cares? Just try it. I mean, kind of like
yeah.
just do
I
just go do.
know. My mother always told me that they know you have it. If you don't ask, if you don't move, the no and the doors will remain closed. But
That's right.
if you go out and you start knocking those doors and you start asking and you start moving, then you will have other options. And that's
That's right.
when the magics happen, that it's you are creating that what you manifest or what you're thinking that you are confident of. And the other thing that I like about it, it's we don't know what's happening in the other people's heads.
Hmm.
Sometimes when you are going to sell something or to communicate about your product or service, you have like you are biased, like, hey, no, he won't like it. He will no, no, no. You don't know what's going on his head, his or her head, because once
Right.
you talk to him, once I was talking to a potential client and I was thinking, he won't need my services. He lives up in the Midwest, Montana. They are all ranches. They won't need the engineers. And this guy told me like, you are the answer to my prayers because up
Oh,
here
wow.
we don't have engineers and I have a glass manufacturing company and I
Mm.
have around 200 workers, but none of them it's an engineer. I need quality engineers. I need electromechanical engineers, and he's still telling me like nobody had approached me in the past 7 years in order to offer me this. So thank you for reaching out. And this was a cold call. It wasn't like a referral. I looked to his company and talked to him, and even though I was biased by my own response in my head, like who will want this service at Montana? And then it is one of my best clients.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah. I
confidence
mean, yeah,
is
just you can shut your own doors based on what you have
yeah,
in your. I mean, it's actually scary. It's actually
it's
very
actually
scary.
scary.
It's funny. The first talk I talk to young entrepreneurs once in a while, and the first they're like, "Go talk to us about business." I don't need to tell you anything about business. Like you can go and read it up. Like go follow a couple of the really successful guys and learn a couple of things. There's so many social media, some great content. What you need to do is fix your head. What you need to do is fix your head if you want to be successful in business. And honestly, it gets really corny, but it goes back to like, what are your what are your traumas? Like a super, popular stuff right now. What are the things you grew up believing that you shouldn't believe anymore? Who are the friends you're with that you shouldn't be with anymore because they don't add anything? Because also people will rub on you, and like you'll be having friendships that don't take you anywhere. If all your friends are losers, you're just gonna be another loser. It's just that simple. So entrepreneurship to me and success starts with the people in your circle and the things in your head. And once you get those things right, you can learn business. You don't need to. These days, if you have the hunger, the right circle, or at least eliminate the bad people, and then start believing in the right things, and then honestly get on Instagram and start learning about business. You can go to so many of these successful business guys that will tell you tips, sales, lead generation, magnet, all this stuff, marketing stuff. It starts with selling. You got to sell your product or your service. You got to be good at it. You can run a business.
Definitely.
This is the easiest time in history to run a business, become successful, in my view. And I've heard
Definitely.
these from others too, but I take it. I mean, I accept that saying because I think it's true.
No, and I agree. I mean, the communication between countries nowadays, it's 100 times easier than it was at least 50 years ago. I mean, not that long, but now you can do international business among different services, or even in your own country, you can help a lot because you have information from all over the world and you have like networks and everything. But to your point, I completely agree that the circle, the people that you surround yourself with, it's going to help you or it's not going to help you to grow and to have a mindset that helps you to be a great
Challenge you.
businessman. Yeah, to challenge you.
Chal-
That's right.
Yeah, and it could even be, your family is part of your circle. Which are your family members that are constantly complaining? Complaining never got anybody in.
Yeah.
And so, in business or whatever. So yeah, I mean, it really is auditing your life from a mental, spiritual, and relationship. The rest, if
My
you're decent at business, you can probably do pretty good.
my grandfather used to say to me that if I'm the smartest man in the room, I'm doing something really, really wrong because I'm not learning. I don't
Ab-
have to be the smartest man in the room.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And so you need to join groups where people are where you're the small fish, and then you learn from the big fish, or you observe, you watch, and then you make relationships and things like that. So
And it's what you mentioned at the beginning about the everybody makes mistake in business. I mean, maybe I'm really good at HR, but I'm not that good at finances or marketing strategy. So I have to
Right.
join with the people that knows about it so I can learn from there and from that standpoint, grow my business.
Yeah, that's a thing. And I've seen it when I work with some Latin people. Oh, I don't want to make a mistake. And I'm like, none of the
The
mistakes you're
culture
going
of
to make
mistake.
are going to kill my business or hurt me. So yeah, please make the mistake and let's just keep doing, make the mistakes you need to make so you can, move on to your next level. We can get the business going. So yeah, I mean, you're going to learn from your mistakes. That's pretty normal.
Definitely. One question is we are talking about business, your experience, your career. What advice would you give to younger generations? But what's leadership to you? In order to be a leader, I mean, to be a businessman or to create your own business or to move to the next level in the business, you have to be a leader. But for you, what's leadership mean?
That's a good question. Think, man, there's just so many things. I've never thought about what it means to me, but I can tell you, I mean, what I do is I like to set the goals that we need to meet and put it on the table. How we're gonna get to that? I mean, it's a group effort. How we're gonna get to that, and who's gonna carry the baton until what part, and then who's gonna. For me, leadership is organizing. For me, it's organizing my team and delegating who's gonna do what. Knowing that it's always a collective effort. And for me, part of leading teams and people and clients is always being willing to be the person that will scrub the floors when the floors need to be scrubbed. And okay, that's the size of businesses we run. We don't run a business where we're $1 billion business where we're small companies at these levels still. So sometimes you wear multiple hats and you don't have the luxury of um having 10 people having to do a certain thing. You just need to do it yourself sometimes and fill the gaps. But I can tell you what leadership is not is which is something I had to unlearn from my Latin American world, is this sense of hierarchy. The senses of hierarchy are something that just don't go well with. It's like, this is an even playing field. I may be the person that has a certain title or seniority or whatever, but I don't believe in I report to this person or that person reports to me. It's just weird. I like it more fluid than that. Very conversational, solving the problem. Like if we're not solving the problem, there's something broken and problems need to get solved. And so however we're going to solve the problem, that's how I want to do it. That's leadership also. That's part of leadership to me also, which is these are the 3 problems we have. Let's solve the thing. And so we remove the blockage. I think maybe leadership is a little bit of being able to foresee that and getting rid of the problem. That's a part I love, which is identifying the roadblocks and just removing them in all my
Yeah.
businesses, whether it is the legal one or the other one. I'm also very creative. I think leaders should be creative, and in that it requires creativity and never copying anybody. I guess another aspect of leadership is just don't copy anybody. Who cares how your competition does it? I really don't care. When people say, oh, they're doing it this way, I may want to know, like, oh, what's trending? But I am never going to copy whoever is the competition, quote unquote, because they are not me and I'm not them. So it's always been done this way. It's another thing I hate. I don't care how it's been done this way. We're gonna make it our way, my way. It's like we're gonna make it whichever way works for us, not for what works for mainstream. And as an attorney, that sometimes is hard. It's like, oh, these are the customary clauses in this deal, and I'm like, well, that may be customary, whatever, but does it apply to this deal? That do we really need it here? And so I don't go with, oh, that's how it's always been done, because that to me is ridiculous. I don't care how it's been done. I'm just going to do it
Yeah.
however it needs to be done for these particular situations. Yeah.
No, and I completely get it. I like your definition of leadership. It's roll your sleeves, play with example, solve problems. It's a teamwork, and you have to be like the orchestra director. You have to have your eyes in everything, but you know you can do everything, so you need to know who got the baton and who will be next. But at the same time, it's okay. I have to be ahead of my time in order to solve problems. Don't looking at the competition, because sometimes when you're in a track race, if you just look to your left or to your right to see the competition, you lose. So you have to be focused on your goal, focus on what your strengths and on your client, and to serve them well. So I
Right.
like this definition of leadership. Now, Gabriel, I want to tell you the three things I learned about this time being with you in here, and it's really, really amazing. I mean, how fast time passes when we are speaking of something so important and so transcendent. So the first thing is, I will take the learn to learn. Some of us, this was an advice to you that you get, but some of us, we don't learn to learn. We are just passing life by, and we just learning what we need to do in order to have a check or to acquire the next client, but we're not learning what's behind it. So learn to learn, be a long life learner. That's something I'm going to take away. And the second thing, it's live with the organized chaos. Chaos, it's not a bad thing, but you need to organize it, and you need to live with it, and you need to understand it, and you need to balance is not an option, because as we discussed, it doesn't exist. It depends on the on your life situation at that moment, but at the same time you have to be organized within these chaos. Following your example, you have your law firm, you have your CPA firm, you have your podcast, you have multiple other businesses that you're a mother, you're your wife, you have friends, you have a life complete, and that's organized chaos. So you can live with it, just organize it, and believe that you can do it. And the third thing that I want to take away, it's believe in yourself, have confidence. I mean,
Right.
if you already have it and you know that everybody makes mistake in business, have confidence in you. Even go a little bit further. Have confidence in you making mistakes, because every mistakes will it's a step until your goal that you want to achieve. So, as Latin Americans, we are afraid of making mistakes. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Little one, medium ones, large one, just be cautious. But the medium one, the little ones, just have confidence and bet on yourself, on your decisions, and your approach. So that's the three things I gotta takeaways, and I really appreciate the time with you. One last thing is, if you want to say something to the audience, that will be the time. So please share
Yeah.
last thoughts with us.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, I've definitely loved talking with you. I think this is some great energy. And then yeah, I will just lead with, you mentioned your audience is a little younger, probably about 10 years younger than me, somewhere like that. I would say, yeah, I really will go with the confidence. Don't copy anybody. That's another one I tell. Look, do you I know it sounds really corny. It's like, oh, me, yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's your life. Do what works for you right now. There's no one path that applies for a woman or for a man, for whatever. It is your path. And so, be comfortable in the path where you're at, and things will change. Your life will change. You'll have kids. You'll have things happen in your life. Your career will change. Your bosses, your businesses, whatever your situation, it's just never going to be static. And just love the lack of steadiness. At least that's in my scenario. I couldn't have a day where it's always the same thing. That's why I'm like, I got the podcast. I get to talk to people. I got these one. I got these other things to do. And as long as you're being responsible and organized in whatever you're doing, you're going to get far. You're going to get far and you're going to be good. And so that would be it. Just lead with confidence. But the other thing I thought as you were talking, confidence never like, it's never like it doesn't have a cap of, oh, I achieved confidence. Because as long as you're growing, now let's say, you have an opportunity to meet with, a billion-dollar company as your customer. It's your first time you have a customer of $1 million. Now you're going to have to show up to the meeting for the first time. Now you need confidence to face the whatever new thing. Every time you're doing something new, you need the new little piece of confidence to meet that requirement. It's always growing and always evolving. But as long as you can continue to build it and identify that you need it and then take it, I think you'll be fine.
I love it. You have to be a long life learner. And that
Right.
learning, it's applied to confidence, because you never achieve confidence at the maximum potential. There's always going to be another level that you need to conquer. So keep going at it, keep asking for it, and keep doing it. As you said earlier, just do it.
Yep. Pretty
So
much.
So, guys, thank you for listening. If you want to learn more about Gabriela and how she helps companies grow and prepare for success, you can visit GNS Low or her social media that's going to be down here in the description of the episode. Also, I will remind you to subscribe to Mente Hispana before more conversation with inspiring Hispanic leaders, and share this episode with an entrepreneur or small business owner who wants to grow with clarity and confidence. So, Gabriela, thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.
Thank you for having me.